innovative content, global audience.
The increasing rate of drug abuse amongst youth in Nigeria is on a daily rise and has become an issue of concern. Do you know that over 11% of the youth population in Nigeria are doing drugs? They abuse these drugs on a daily basis. They abuse drugs like syrups. We have those that abuse tramadol. We have those that take cocaine, shisha mix, and many others. On this drug abuse, do you know that 1 out of 4 high school seniors have abused drugs over the past 1 year? Even though that drug abuse among teens have reduced over the years, but we still have young adults who abuse these drugs on a daily basis. Therefore, they are getting chronic addiction to these drugs. In this program today, we will tell you about the drugs that our youths abuse. In Nigeria, mostly, the Nigerian youths abuse some drugs like stimulants, we have the hallucinogens, we have the narcotics, we have the sedatives, and we have the miscellaneous. Also have the tranquilizers. These are some of the drugs that Nigerian youths abuse on a daily basis. This is Youth Arena, where we discuss everything and anything that is bordering on the youth that is of concern to us as a nation. Good morning, viewers. Happy Salah to our Muslim faithfuls. I am your host on this show, Rita UCHECHI. And at some point, we will be having a guest who will discuss much more about this drug abuse. Now, let's talk about drug abuse, about young Nigerian youths. Those days when we were younger, we thought that drug abuse were things of those in the higher institution. But these days, with a lot of things that are happening, you get to see that even high schoolers are abusing drugs on a daily basis. One day, I went to the market to get some things, and out of nowhere, a young guy fell down and was lying straight. People gathered and were thinking that maybe he was having seizure. Then at some point, they now said maybe this guy is dead. People were running away. Then a fellow young man came and asked for pure water, chilled pure water. When they used he now used the chilled pure water to spray on his foot. Then the guy now sneezed. He said that we should just move him to a place where he will relax properly and leave him there. That he did drugs, and that is why he fell down like that. These are more than what we see on a daily basis. Sometimes you see these children behind primary schools in some neighborhoods. Sometimes there was even one day I saw a little boy folding paper, normal paper, light it, started smoking it. And when I reported to the father was like, "Is it paper?" I said yes. Then the father said, "Okay." I was expecting the father to scold the child that these are not what you're supposed to do. These children, they see all of these on the movies they watch. They see them on the music videos, because a lot of artists do drugs, and you hardly see a movie or a musical video now that you don't see traces of drugs in them. So these children, they learn this thing on a daily basis and they practice it, while the adults that are around them do nothing to help them. Okay, there is this instance of a parent that a man, he smokes every day, like a very addictive smoker. You are now married. You are supposed to avoid smoking where your young children are. But no, our parents, they smoke in front of their children. What are they learning? They look up to you. They learn that smoking is part of life. Say they see it as a form of enjoyment. Now, when the father is smoking, do you think that when that child grow up, he will not smoke even more than the father? And there is nothing you will tell that child that smoking is bad for your health that the child will listen to, because he saw the father smoking and probably maybe nothing happened to the father. Then he thinks that that is how it is and it is good, it's a normal way of life. It is not. The abuse of drugs on a daily basis, sometimes you see these youths, they go to the extent that when they don't have money to buy these drugs, you see them, some of them they inhale petrol in order to get high. They inhale a lot of things. They burn rubbers, they inhale it just to get high, just to feel that highness. And not just among the male folks, the female ones, shisha mix. Anywhere, any gathering you go to, you see young females indulging in this shisha mix. They take a lot of shisha, and when you talk, they tell you, you only live once. This is my time to enjoy. For instance, now, this is a celebration period. A lot of youths are celebrating this Salah holiday. A lot of them will go and indulge in drug abuse. Some of them will be pressured into it by friends. My dear fellow youths, I am telling you that you should not be influenced. There are some things like it, some of our friends influences us in the negative way. If you notice that a friend is influencing you in the negative way, what do? You withdraw from such gathering. You withdraw from those people. Look for those that will influence you positively. It's quite unfortunate that in our society these days, the negative impact of everything is on a high rise. Like, you go to pharmacy to buy drugs. Some pharmacies they don't sell drugs to young people anymore without a doctor's prescription, because of the way these young people abuse these drugs is alarming. Is Every day you hear stories. Sometimes even the security personnel now, sometimes these drug abusers are being arrested as criminals. Some of them are being treated as criminals. Why? Because of the way they have chose to live their life, because of abusing drugs. We are not even talking about the effects of drug abuse in our body system. These drugs cause a lot of damages. You get addicted to this drug. You cannot stay without having these drugs. Some people in the higher institution, you see, sometimes during exam time, you will see a student sleeping off in the exam hall. Sometimes you feel that the students actually did what we call TDB then till daybreak, only for you to find out that this student actually took drugs in order to make him or her feel comfortable. Some of them say they cannot do without it. Like, it makes them feel comfortable, it makes them calm down in order to prepare for whatever it is they are preparing. No, this is the wrong way. We are not supposed. Drug abuse is a no, and it is rising daily. It's not supposed to be so. What we see in the videos, what we see in the musical videos, home videos, even the foreign films, these things are films. These things are made believe. They are not real. We should understand all these things and stop harming our bodies, stop harming ourselves. Yes, like they say, we only live once. And when you live that once, make sure that you live rightly. Make sure that you live a purpose-filled life. Do not use drugs to cut short your life. Do not use drugs to cut off your destiny. Do not use drugs to damage those organs that God has given you. Drug abuse is so much that every day we'll keep seeing it. Every time there is there is no there is no way we will discuss about drug abuse that you will say that it is too much, because the way the youths are abusing drugs these days, some people might think that it is because that the youths are not gainfully employed. Why you think that the youths are not gainfully employed in and they indulge in abusing drugs? Is that the only thing that they can do? No, it is not. We say no to drug abuse. The youths are supposed to find something to do, learn a trade, keep yourself busy. Sometimes if you see that someone is influencing you or a group is influencing you negatively, you abstain from that group. Abusing drugs is not going to help. Sometimes you say that it's family pressure. Family can make you to go and abuse drugs in order to forget. And like we know, even those that take alcohol, those that are addicted to alcohol, we know that after taking the alcohol, your mind, you will just sleep off. When you wake up, whatever it is you were trying to forget will still be there knocking at your door. The moment you open your eyes, everything comes back to you. So what is the need? We should stop this drug abuse in the society. There is no way we will keep preaching about drug abuse every day, because is the thing is as if the society these days are being influenced on the negative things. And you see parents like these days, even when you go to some schools, you know, teachers will tell you that this boy or this girl is stubborn, he's following a bad group. And when you maybe punish that child comes to the school the next day with the parents, and the parents will tell you, do not spank my child. Whatever he or she does, you have to talk to him in a softly manner. You know, some things that will try to emulate the Western world. And you know, in emulating the Western world, we are doing exactly those things in those days that we used to say that, you know, a child from Africa cannot be like this, a child from Africa cannot do this. We see a lot of children these days talking to their parents anyhow. And we are in Africa where respect is a core norm. Then you talk about this drug abuse. You tell your son, this is not good for you. The son will tell you, no, I know my rights, I know what I am doing. Parents should go back. We should retrace our steps in training these children, because to me, I think that parents have a very big role to play in this issue of drug abuse. The rate of drug abuse these days is too much. You see, because when I was growing up, I used to think that yes, it's those uncles that are in higher institutions that they are the ones that can live wayward lives. Now is a different story altogether. When you go to as low as junior secondary schools, you will see a lot of things that you as an adult, you don't even know how they are done. Where they learn all these things is what we do not know. What we are going to talk today is purely on the abuse of drugs amongst Nigerian youths. And we are looking at these stimulants. The stimulants, these are drugs, these are substances that directly act and stimulate the central nervous system, like they increases our energies. These are some drugs that have caffeine in them. They are caffeinated, some of the caffeinated drinks we take and all that. We also have the hallucinogens. These are drugs that alter the sensory processing unit in the brain, thus producing distorted perception, feeling of anxiety and euphoria, sadness, inner joy, and a lot more. Now, These are some of the drugs they take because maybe stage fright, exam fever, and all that. But if you keep taking these drugs, for how long? For how long? If you're in the first year of your academic year in the university, first year, and you start taking drugs due to exam fever, are you going to take drugs every semester? Are you going to take drugs every time, even after graduation, whenever you have an interview, whenever you are called to talk in the public? Are you going to take drugs? Because taking all these things, at a point you get addicted that you cannot do without these drugs. Then we'll continue. Some of the drugs that are abused by Nigerian youths are the narcotics. These are drugs like pain reliefs. This tramadol, we cannot talk about drug abuse in Nigeria and not speak about tramadol. The rate at which youths are abusing tramadol is so much that sometimes you go to the pharmacy, if you just ask of tramadol, the way they look at you, it's as if that you like you are among those that are abusing drugs. And some pharmacies too, they don't sell tramadol to you without a doctor's prescription. And these drugs are drugs that are meant to be prescribed by doctors, by certified doctors. You don't just go and buy drugs just like that. Some drug abuse does not entirely end with those that are abusing it in order to get high. No, it doesn't end there. Drug abuse also talks about you. Like in Nigeria, we and malaria, we are 5 and 6. Whatever happens to you, you say is malaria. You go and buy anti-malaria without going to the lab to find out what is actually wrong. You keep taking anti-malaria until your body system now builds build some things that will fight against that anti-malaria. That is why sometimes you say anti-malaria drugs, these anti-malaria drugs they give me at so place, it does not work because you have abused that anti-malaria drugs to the extent that it has become resistant. The malaria in you or whatever in you have become resistant to that drug. That is an abuse of drugs. It is not only for those that are taking it for highness or that are taking it as per enjoyment, like they say. We also have the sedatives. The sedatives are drugs that are widely used. These are largely due to the belief that they relieve stress and anxiety. Some of these drugs, like promethazone, we have the chloroform, and a lot others. Some of these drugs are not even supposed to be in some pharmacies because they're like in my area. I went to a pharmacy sometime and I asked for a drug. They asked me, okay, the person in charge asked, okay, do you have a doctor's prescription? I said, no, it's not for me, it's for somebody. The pharmacist said that I should go and get a doctor's prescription before I can get that particular drug. If all of our pharmacies, chemist shops, and all of them can be like this, at least we will reduce the rate of drug abuse amongst the Nigerian youth, because it is too much. It is too much. The way everywhere you go, every nook and cranny of this country, you must see young youths abusing drugs. Some time ago in Bauchi State, I saw a young boy, very young boy. He was begging that please, can you give me so and so. Then when I asked around what happened to this boy, he was dressed neatly, that you won't say that he was mad. They say that this guy is so addicted to drugs that when he don't have money to buy drugs, he starts misbehaving, he starts acting mad, just to get that. And the moment he takes it, he comes back to his senses. This is one of the effects. The effects of drug abuse are so many that we cannot finish in one program. We have the miscellaneous. These miscellaneous are volatile things that, like I mentioned earlier, this miscellaneous, you have petrol, you have gas, you have burning of rubber. They inhale them. They inhale all these things, forgetting that inhaling these are even dangerous to the health. The rate of the abuse is just something that I cannot get to wrap my head around. The way we abuse drugs, even parents, the way parents abuse drugs. But today we are focusing on more on the youths. You know, in Nigeria, everybody is a semi doctor in his or her own personal way. You feel body ache, you say, it's also so and so. You feel headache, you say, it's typhoid, it must be typhoid. You go and buy drugs without going to see a doctor. At a point in time, all those drugs, all those, your body system will now be resistant to these drugs. And what happens when your body system becomes resistant to these drugs? It makes the drugs ineffective anytime you now take them. When you are actually sick now, maybe you now see a doctor will tell you, this is malaria, you have malaria plus maybe typhoid, whatever. Then they prescribe drugs for you, you take it, then you go back, you come out to say that the doctor did not prescribe a good medicine for you, the drugs are not working, all these drugs. But you have forgotten that you have been medication, you've been taking self medication for the past years, and your body system has now become resistant to these drugs, which is very, very bad. It is very bad because you will now, because drugs are meant to understand that some drug is not all drugs that works for Mr. A that will work for Mr. B. Now, when you make the drug that is supposed to work for you become resistant, what do you now expect? You now be taking the higher ones, and at a point your body becomes very weak that it can no longer take those medications anymore. The youths are supposed to learn to do the right things at the right time. In fact, there is no right time for drug abuse. There is never a right time for abusing drugs. Our parents should learn to stop self-medication, because sometimes we grew up seeing our parents telling us, how are you feeling? Mommy, I'm having headache. Daddy, I'm having headache. They will say, okay, your brother should rush to the hospital, to so chemist or pharmacy, buy this, buy that. That is an abuse of drug. You're abusing that drug because you don't know the actual problem. Just because there are so many illness that comes with headache, there are so many illness that comes with fever, depending on your body system. Then you just say, you conclude it is malaria, it is typhoid. That is a widely known ailment in Nigeria as of today. You just conclude that it is malaria, and you start giving those people that's anti-malaria and typhoid medicine. We should stop that. And for our youth that takes this as a form of enjoyment, this is not enjoyment. It is not, because at the long run you will build the one when you are supposed to enjoy the fruits of your labor. For those that actually worked, when you're supposed to enjoy the fruits of your labor, you will be going from one hospital to the other, because all your organs are very weak due to excessive abuse of drugs. You become addicted to these drugs. The security agencies see you, they mistake you for criminals, when we know some of these drug abusers are not criminals, but because of what we believe that criminals take drugs, they take cocaine, they smoke a lot of things. So the security agencies now treat you as a criminal. You know, the way you present yourself, is the way you will be addressed. So, Nigerian youth, I call on you today to say no to drug abuse. Let's say no to drug abuse. And to our Muslim faithfuls, today we are celebrating the Salah. There should be no drug abuse. Spread the gospel. Say no to drug abuse. Let this celebration be a good one, and do not be influenced by others taking drugs you want to take as a way of feeling among, as a way of being in the modern world, as a way of being an man or whatever they call it. No, do what you know is right. Let us not leave the right track and start doing what we do not know. Let us not copy everything that we see on the social media, because the social media today is influencing a lot of the youth. Filter whatever it is you see on the social media. Think. Everybody has the mind to think. Everybody has the brain to know that this is wrong. You can actually say this is wrong and this is right. Something is right because it's popular. It doesn't actually mean that that thing is right. Sometimes another thing is the location where we find ourselves in. There are some areas you will go, even in the daytime, you as a visitor, you will cry because the things you see there, you start feeling anxious, like a lot of criminals are living around there. Why do we feel that way? It's because when you enter that neighborhood, the first thing you see is someone smoking by the corner, the other person smoking here. You see girls, the way they smoke, they take shisha, they take drugs. All this syrup, ordinary cough syrup, have become very, very expensive because of drug abusers. You're having cough, you go to the pharmacy to get cough syrup. They will start asking you plenty questions because they now know that you abuse these drugs. Cough syrup that is meant to relieve you of coughs. So today we are going to talk much more on drug abuse when we will call in our guest that will be coming. That is after this short break. We'll return with a guest that will talk much more about this drug abuse and also answer some of our questions with also some advice for us in order to better our country. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive economic summit, exhibition of Nigerian organic agricultural produce, and a meritorious recognition performance awards to deserving Nigerians and industry icons. Nigeria Week will showcase Afrobeat A-list artists, Ice Praise, Terry G, Orishefemi, Oris Wiliki, Konga, Bigiano, Nice Flow, Jet Play, and many more. Dates 17th to 23rd July 2023. Time 10 a.m. to 11. Hooray! It's not.
Okay, my people, it could not be better than this. The Nigerian Week in London 2023 got you covered to the extent that you can get a free ticket to the event. And this is all you need to do. Go to the Google Play Store and download TapTap app. Send as low as £1 to the account in Nigeria using SRTV as your transaction code. Screenshot your transaction and send to 447-459-513619 or email it to event@superiorradioandtelevision.com. And the ticket will be sent to you ASAP. This is powered by SRTV London and TapTap Send. You already know what time it is. Your boy Ice Prince Amani. I can't wait to ride this.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive economic summit, exhibition of Nigerian organic agricultural produce, and a meritorious recognition performance awards to deserving Nigerians and industry icons. Nigeria Week will showcase Afrobeat A-list artists, Ice Praise, Terry G, Orishefemi, Oris Wiliki, Konga, Bigiano, Nice Flow, Jet Play, and many more. Dates 17th to 23rd July 2023. Time 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. Venue Lighthouse Theatre, 262 to 274 Camberwell Road, London SE50AY. Tickets available on Eventbrite at
Okay, my people.
Welcome back, viewers, from that very short break. And like I promised that I will be coming back with a guest. Today on the show Youth Arena, I have with me on call Mr. Ubane Samuel Udochukwu, who will be talking much about the rate of drug abuse amongst youth. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're glad to have you on the show today.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, sir, what is drug abuse? Because a lot of people don't actually know what drug abuse is.
Okay, drug abuse is simply the illegal use of drugs or overuse of across-the-counter drugs that will have negative effects on your body. What I mean by across-the-counter drugs are some of your regular drugs that you can go to the pharmacy or the chemist to purchase, like this analgesic or any other kind of drug. So when you use those drugs, not the way you are expected to use them. You use them for any other purpose other than the purpose they are meant for. You are abusing them. Then secondly, there are some contraband drugs like heroin and other narcotics that are not supposed to be used by the individual on a regular basis. When you also use those drugs, you are abusing them. So that is why there is there are laws, there are legislative frameworks that guide those drugs that you are not expected to use them. Now, sometimes people do not really understand the essence of this. That is why somebody might be abusing drugs without even knowing it. When you are having some discomfort in your body, instead of you to go meet a medical doctor to give you proper prescription, you will now resort to going to the nearby person in your neighborhood, maybe a chemist, to tell the person you are having this, you are having this. The person will now give you some drugs. You might not even understand what you are passing through, neither does the person prescribing drugs for you. You might be going to treat a different thing, meanwhile, you are suffering from something different. You are also abusing drugs. So drug abuse can come in different forms. That is it.
Okay, thank you for that. So what do you think is the major contributor to drug abuse among youth? The major reasons why youth abuse drugs in Nigeria?
All right, there are some reasons. There are some reasons for drug abuse among youth in Nigeria, but I think the most obvious one is peer pressure. Peer
Okay.
pressure in the sense that somebody wants to belong, wants to be like your friend. When you are maybe in school or in any other arena where you see your friends using one form of drug or the other, because nowadays you perceive drug and as something that will make you to belong. They perceive it as something that will prove that you have essentially arrived. So when you are not using drug or you are not into one substance or the other, they look at you as somebody who doesn't know, you know, you don't know what's up. But when you are using one drug or the other, they will say this person has really arrived. So when a young person sees his friends or neighbors using one form of drug or the other, as they usually say, when a goat that does not eat grass begins to follow a goat that eats grass, that other goat will also begin to eat grass. So it simply means that when your peers are into drugs, there is a very high risk of you also joining them in that. But I also think there is another reason. Another reason is poor parental care.
Okay.
Nowadays, our parents hardly have time for the children. So when you do not give your children the parental care that they deserve, sometimes it will make them to begin to mix with other children who are not properly trained. Then they might begin to abuse drugs.
Okay. So, sir, do you think that unemployment has a big role to play in youth indulging in drug abuse?
Yes, unemployment is very, vital. It is a very important factor in that because people become depressed. Depression is also a factor in drug abuse. When somebody is depressed, when you have lost hope, when you are despondent, when you do not believe that tomorrow will be better, when you don't have even a hope of getting what you eat, the next meal is not in sight, then there is that tendency that you begin to abuse drugs. You find solace in abusing substances that ordinarily you are not supposed to abuse. So that is why it is important that the government comes in to try to provide jobs for the youth because in Nigeria we have a huge population of young people who are essentially doing nothing. So when somebody sees himself or herself idle, doing nothing, as they say, an idle brain is a devil's workshop. So when you are not doing anything, it simply means that whatever your hands find doing, you will indulge in it. And drugs is one of those things. And sometimes the use of drugs also helps to impoverish the young people the more. The money you are supposed to use to feed yourself or buy one or two things to cater for yourself, you simply go into drugs. So it's also advisable that you should understand that the fact that you don't have something big today doesn't mean that you don't get something to do tomorrow. So whatever you have in your hand that you can use to even feed once in a day, you can use whatever you have to feed yourself rather than using it to indulge in drugs. Because when you indulge in drugs, you need money. If you are spending money. And when you spend money and you cannot spend more, it means you will maybe indulge in other crimes like robbery and all the rest of them. So unemployment is very vital. But the fact that you don't have a job doesn't mean that you deserve a job.
Okay, sir. Do you think that all drug abusers are criminals, and why? Okay, okay, sir. Talking about those that abuse drugs and don't know they are abusing drugs. So, what do you think can be done about the stigma associated with drug abuse victims?
help them where necessary. Then secondly, the government and maybe the National Registration Agency is continue to create awareness concerning this. People should understand that drug abusers are not essentially criminals, as we have said before. They should understand that those who abuse drugs, they can be rescued. They are not finished. They are not people. They can become meaningful citizens to the society. They can do one thing or the other that the society can benefit from. So the society have a duty, a responsibility not to stigmatize them. Then second, another point is that the government should strengthen the legislative framework. There should be legislation that perhaps punish those who stigmatize victims of drug abuse. Because some people are also subjected to some drug abuse. Hopefully, some people didn't become they didn't start abusing drugs on their own or by their own willing mind. Some of them were forced to begin to abuse drugs. So for example, those who have been trafficked before out of this country, maybe somebody goes out for such a greener pasture and the person ends up in the hands of traffickers. These people also subject them to so many inhuman situations like drug abuse, prostitution, and what abuse. So when these people are discovered, they should be quickly be treated as victims. They should not be stigmatized. So government should strengthen and legislative framework that will guide them.
All right. So, what do you think government can do to tackle the issue of drug abuse in Nigeria?
Yes, the government should start by providing safety safety net. Safety safety net in the sense that should be employment for the young people. The economy should be robust enough for the young people to participate and do things that will put money in their pocket and help them to actualize their dreams. Because when the money is done and there's something doing when you're expected to cover for yourself and there is no job for you to cover for yourself, you see yourself doing so many things that ordinarily you are not supposed to do. Let us look at the example of illegal migration, people who are leaving this country in droves on daily basis, going through the Sahara Desert and going through the sea in order to reach Europe. They are leaving this country not because they don't love Nigeria. They are leaving Nigeria because they see Nigeria as a country where there is no hope anymore. So the government should do more to make the young people understand and believe in their country. So when there is belief in Nigeria, when there is belief that this country can offer you what you need as a young person, then I think the issue of drug abuse will be there. Again, as I said before, we should continue to create the awareness. We should continue to make people understand the dangers associated with drug abuse. There are so many dangers associated with drug abuse, like cardiovascular diseases and other forms of diseases that somebody can contract as a result of drug abuse. And sometimes somebody becomes somehow you begin to behave as somebody who is mentally ill as a result of drug abuse. There are so many side effects. There are so many things that can happen to you when you begin to abuse drugs. So people should understand that there are dangers associated with drug abuse for them to know that it is not good to abuse drugs. Again, people should also be encouraged to always visit the hospital when they feel one form of discomfort or the other in their body. Because it's only the medical doctor who understands what medication you are supposed to take for a particular condition. You don't just go and self-medicate. When you go for self-medication, there is 80% chances that you are going to abuse drugs. So people should be encouraged. The awareness should be created that people should visit the hospital whenever they feel ill. And there is also the issue of family planning. When people give birth to as many children as they can have, and at the end of the day, they are not able to cater for these children the way they are supposed to take care of them.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ubani Samuel, for that wonderful answers you've given. And I believe a lot of viewers have learned so much from the way you dissected this. And I believe also they will, from today, stop abusing drugs knowingly or unknowingly. Thank you very much for being on the show, and we will have you right back sometime next time.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you. All right, viewers, just like our caller said, that what can government do if not to create more awareness? The National Orientation Agency should create more awareness on this issue of drug abuse. It is no longer funny the way the youths abuse drugs. Do not succumb to peer pressure. Do not succumb just because you want to belong. If you want to belong, belong as your own self, not as maybe whatever it is they give you for you to be, for you to feel among. No, do not do drugs. Say no to drugs. Say no to drugs. And more of awareness should be created. And we are hoping that in this particular program of Youth Arena that you have learned so much. And for those of us who do not go to the hospital, say hospital is super, is it not just a headache that is disturbing me? You just go, oh God, give me this, give me. Sometimes you don't even tell them I'm having headache, I'm having leg pain. No, sometimes you say, do you have Panadol? Give me two. Do you have paracetamol? Give me one. Do you have this? Give me. Do you have this? When they will give you, then you go home and you feel like, yes, I know it, but you don't. You are not a medical doctor. Even medical doctors, when they feel ill, they still go to the hospital. Even being a medical doctor does not treat himself. Talk more of you that is not a medical doctor. We should say no to self-medication and say no to drug abuses. And just like the president mentioned yesterday, that drug abusers, that the stigma on drug abusers should be removed. They should be encouraged because some of them, like the caller said earlier, some of them were as a result of trafficking. They were forced into this act. They should be embraced. They should not be stigmatized because stigmatizing them make them not to open up, not to talk. And what does that make them? It makes them to indulge more and more and more, and they'll keep falling deeply. But when the society embraces them, talk to them, what they need is love. They should not also be treated as criminals. They should be respected as human beings. They should be loved so that, with love, sometimes you can actually retrace someone's step who is going from the right side to the wrong. So this is a good place for us to round up the show on the Youth Arena today. And I believe that you've enjoyed this program. I remain your host, RITA UCHECHI. See you next week on the same program. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Leave us with your thoughts. Subscribe on the notification button. Bye.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive